Dandadan is the perfect romance, which is weird to say about an anime that's about aliens, monsters, and balls, but the very first episode starts with Momo's romantic struggles, and ends with Momo slowly falling in love with Okarun. This romance hooks everyone who gives Dandadan a chance, but there's just one problem. While Momo and Okarun have great chemistry, it's not exactly clear why. I mean, they barely have anything in common. Which raises the question, why do they have such good chemistry in the first place? That's why in this video I'm going to explore the unique relationship between Momo and Okarun, discuss the distinct qualities that make this relationship feel real, and explain why it's one of the best romantic relationships in modern manga. Now, like I said before, Dandadan is very much about romance. When we're introduced to Momo, we see her getting dumped by her loser boyfriend who's only dating her for the worst reasons. But she's really no better because she admits to her friends that she only stayed with him because he looked like her celebrity crush, Ken Takakura, who she describes as tough and hard-boiled. So right away, we know Momo has a type. You either need to look like Ken Takakura, or you need to be tough and hard-boiled. Of course, Okarun is neither of these things. Which brings us back to our question of what the hell does Momo see in him? Well, I say Okarun isn't like Ken Takakura because he isn't tough, but he is dependable, and he displays this dependability by making Momo feel listened to and appreciated. For example, when they each march to their respective locations in the first chapter, Momo feels the need to tell Okarun why she believes in spirits. She starts by saying her family is weird, cueing us into the fact that she feels vulnerable and insecure about this topic. She then continues to explain how her parents died, which led her to move in with her grandma as a young child. Her grandmother would have her do a silly ritual every day that prompted the other kids at school to bully her. As a result, she told her grandma she hated her, even though deep down she loved what her grandma was doing for her. So while she doesn't know that ghosts exist, she believes in them because she loves and believes in her grandma. Notice how Okarun never chimes in or tries to offer advice. All he does is listen. And because he listens to her while she shares this vulnerable story of hers, Momo naturally wants to ask about Okarun. It's funny because Okarun says Momo is so easy to talk to, and yet he barely does any talking. It serves as an example of how you can be a great communicator without doing all that much talking. As a matter of fact, most people will tell you that the people they look to for advice really don't even do that much talking. All they really do is let you vent. And this is exactly what Okarun does for Momo. He gives Momo the opportunity to open up and feel heard. In turn, this serves as the catalyst for her attraction. And obviously he feels listened to as well because she took an interest in him when nobody else did. But it's not like Okarun does literally nothing. He does more than just listen. In fact, there's a one-shot chapter where we see Okarun going out of his way to make Momo feel appreciated. But we'll save that for the end of the video since it's one of my favorite moments. But that's not the first time he makes Momo feel appreciated, because when Okarun confronts the aliens, he reveals how he looked for aliens because nobody would be his friend until Momo came around. So now he's willing to do anything to protect her. In turn, this makes Momo feel special since Okarun makes her feel like somebody worth fighting for. Naturally, it's after this fight, when Momo finally feels heard and appreciated, that Okarun reveals his name, Ken Takakura. What we get isn't some D-bag who happens to look like Takakura. Instead, we get a kind, dependable guy who happens to be named Takakura. The name just serves as a little nudge towards the attraction that was already there. And thanks to this strong foundation, Okarun and Momo are able to demonstrate strong chemistry in each of the following episodes. And they mainly do this through teasing. And I bring up the teasing for 3 reasons. Actually, before I explain what those are, make sure to like the video if you're enjoying it so far. It's the easiest way to support the channel, and it helps spread this video to other viewers like you. So the first reason I bring up the teasing is because it's the first thing you notice. The second reason is because, unlike the more common romantic interests you see in a lot of popular anime where you either get the tsundere that pretends to not like the person completely, or something like a yandere that borders on straight up harassment, Dandadan has a healthy medium of light bullying. And that brings us to the third reason, namely because most of us know that when two people bully each other openly, they're either dating or they're close friends. Obviously, Okarun and Momo tease each other a lot, but there's something special about the way they tease each other. Remember, Momo and Okarun start out with basically nothing in common, and even after the first episode, they still don't have any common interests or hobbies. But now, at this point, they do have common experiences. Okarun feels lonely because he never had any friends, and Momo feels insecure because her classmates all made fun of her as a kid. While not on purpose, the two characters share their histories. As a result, this creates a relationship where they can tease each other precisely because they know about each other's flaws. In fact, this relationship evolves as they test each other's boundaries, which is the key to any healthy teasing, knowing the other person's boundaries and never crossing that line. In the beginning, Momo blurts out that Okarun has no friends. She immediately knows she crossed the line and apologizes. While awkward at first, it works in their favor because now she has a better idea of where Okarun's boundaries are. We see this right away when they go to Momo's house and Okarun says Momo doesn't have to talk to him anymore because he thinks she's somehow better than he is. This time, instead of calling him out for being a loner, Momo honestly but brutally points out Okarun's mistake in this situation, but follows that up by saying that he can continue to be friends with her. And then, when he's too embarrassed to say anything, Okarun bullies Momo and the two start teasing each other. So because the two characters know each other's boundaries, they're able to tease each other playfully without going too far. But this last part shows the third reason the two characters tease each other so much, namely that they're too embarrassed to express how they really feel. This actually gets explored in full following the fight with Turbo Granny. We see that Momo and Okarun experience some awkwardness saying goodbye to and greeting each other because they have these feelings for each other that they themselves aren't even fully aware of yet. And in school, they start to realize how much they really like each other, but they start to become insecure. That is until they bump into each other and accidentally kiss. When Momo's friends find out about it, they naturally question her about it. But because she's too embarrassed to be honest about it, Momo rejects Okarun and tells him to go away. Feeling insecure, Okarun asks if Momo is really so embarrassed to be friends with him and walks away feeling lonely again. While she accidentally crosses the line again, Momo reveals that she has these feelings for Okarun that are so strong, she isn't comfortable coming right out and being honest about them. Her friends even point this out when they say that she must really like Okarun if she's getting this worked up over him. And this is where we can see why the two bully each other. They're close friends that think about each other even when they're apart, but because they feel so strongly and don't know how to come right out and say it, they resort to teasing each other as a sort of way to downplay those feelings. That being said, they never tried to deny these feelings. Right after this, when Momo sees Okarun being bullied by Ira, she stands up for him, wraps her arm around him, and starts telling him how good looking and charming he is to the other girls. Notice how, if it's an act directed towards other girls, Momo has no problem, but as soon as it's just her and Okarun, she gets all nervous. This is exactly why the two of them have such great chemistry. Part of the reason they tease each other is because they trust each other and know each other's boundaries. But the other reason is because they have these strong feelings that they still struggle to be honest about, both with themselves and with each other. This teasing, on top of the trust and communication, is what makes the two of them so endearing. And there's no better example of how this plays out than the one-shot chapter I mentioned before. In this chapter, Momo is mad at Okarun when he's late to meet with her on the way to school, but is obviously lying about why he made her late. So then a classic Dandadan moment happens where Momo and Okarun have to beat some baboon alien monster in a game of kick the can. After this big fight, Okarun apologizes for making Momo late and gives her a gift. That gift being a special edition DVD of Golgo 13. Starring none other than Ken Takakura. Momo, being Momo, knows this must have been expensive and asks where Okarun got got the money for this. It's at this point that Okarun reveals the reason he was late was because he was working a part-time job. He heard Momo talk about how much she wanted the DVD when they were at the mall together, so he took on a part-time job so he could buy the DVD just for her. Hearing this, Momo agrees to continue meeting with Okarun in the morning like they usually do, playfully pushes him, and thanks him. This is one of the best chapters in the manga, and it's because it combines everything we've talked about. Momo teases Okarun by pushing him because she knows he's okay with this kind of teasing, but also because it's the only way she knows how to let him know how much she appreciates him. Okarun buys the DVD for Momo because he appreciates Momo that much, but lies about it because he doesn't want her to know and is embarrassed to let her find out. Trust, communication, and overwhelmingly genuine feelings for each other. It makes this an incredibly endearing scene, one that I pray finds its way into the anime. But more importantly, this scene and so many others serve as examples of why this relationship carries Dandadan. Like I said before, Dandadan is a romance. It's a story about a girl who looks for love in the wrong way, but finds the guy she didn't even know she was looking for. The more these two characters talk with each other and listen to each other, the stronger their chemistry feels to us. This is the secret behind Okarun and Momo's relationship, and it's exactly why Dandadan has the perfect romance. But now I'd like to hear what you think. How would you describe this relationship? How does it compare to other romances in anime? Share your thoughts and see what everyone else has to say down in the comments. I'll pick my favorite and share it as comment of the week on my community tab. And if you'd like to join me for more discussions like this one, then make sure to check out my live streams every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. In those streams, I react to new chapters and share my thoughts on other anime and manga topics. Also, make sure to check out the Dandadan playlist, which you can find linked right here. For now, thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon.